PFF TV. I'm Shannon Ford. He's Eric Eager. Today we're going to be discussing the NFC East. What is going on? They used to be one of the league's best. Now they're one of the league's worst. Eric ran some numbers, and all of that simulation is powered by our friends at AWS. So let's get into the number crunch and just start with what the heck is going on with this division.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles were the odds-on favorite going into the season, even after not winning the division last year. However, they've just struggled mightily with, depth at receiver has been an issue. Defense at times has been an issue. And Carson Wentz, whether it be injury or just general ineffectiveness, has regressed quite a bit. So, because, the Eagles lost last week to Dallas, they only have about a 21% chance to win the division. Dallas basically wins the division in all of their simulations and gets what is likely the 4th seed in the NFC.
Yeah, the Eagles, as you mentioned, were the most complete team coming into this season, and they just really haven't performed at that level. We mentioned problems with Carson Wentz, who's been digressing very much so. He might have the worst receiving core in the league, though. People might argue the Pats, but the Eagles have some problems there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they just cut 2 players who started games for them at wide receiver over the last couple weeks. So unlike the Dallas Cowboys have a ton of talent, in the skill position players with Amari Cooper, obviously Ezekiel Elliott, Jason Witten, Michael Gallup. They're really helping Dak Prescott. The issue for Dallas moving forward is the fact that their defense has not been nearly as good as it was last year. It might not matter here, though. I mean, when we look at these simulations, there's a substantial number of times where Dallas wins the division with a record of 8-8 or worse. And even if they both finish at 9-7, the chances that Dallas wins the division are still pretty high. So despite all their faults, we might see Jason Garrett in the playoffs for the 3rd time in the last 4 years.
Yeah, the Cowboys currently sit at 6-6. And while their defense has had problems, the addition of Amari Cooper into their offense this year has really been able to light Dak Prescott up, and he's been performing at a very high level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Prescott is the 2nd most valuable player in the NFL right now per our PFF WAR metric, behind only Russell Wilson. So a lot of things on that team are bad, and they're being elevated even to that, as you said, 500 record because Dak Prescott is having a career year in what is probably going to end up being his contract penultimate year.
Yeah, so we look at the Eagles and the Cowboys. They'll meet again this season. That could be the deciding factor in this division. The Eagles, by our simulations, have the easiest schedule going down the stretch. But when you look at the Cowboys schedule, Bears, Rams, Eagles, Redskins, it's not all that tough either.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting with Thursday Night Football, we give them a 57% chance to win the game in Chicago. So a pretty, it's not a very likely win, but it's a better than average win. And again, even if the Eagles and Cowboys meet up with, all the marbles on the line, Dallas is probably a better team than Philadelphia, and hence why we give them such a huge handicap to win the NFC East.
Sure. Hopefully for the Cowboys, Mitch Trubisky regresses back to where he was at the beginning of the season and stops playing so well by Bears standards.
Yeah, I mean, Trubisky has, they've gotten a couple wins here and are really, they're not really pushing for a playoff berth, but they're not dead like some of these teams left in the NFC East, for example.
So let's talk about who's not dead. The Redskins are not dead at 3-9. To make it to the playoffs, they need the Cowboys to completely lose out. They need the Eagles to lose out to all teams except for the Cowboys, and they need to win out. What is the percentage chance of them doing that?
Yeah, it happens once every 1,000 simulations. So it's not likely to happen, but, as one is wont to say, there is a chance.
Dwayne Haskins in the playoffs. Maybe?
Yeah, probably not, though.
Probably not. The Giants, as we know, have already been eliminated from the playoffs, and as such, the Giants are going to see what they have in Eli Manning. So, we'll see. NFC East is a grim-looking division in the NFL, but Eagles and Cowboys could be an interesting race to the finish.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.